This program was funded in part by a Ready to Learn, No Child Left Behind grant from the U.S. Department of Education through the Public Broadcasting Service, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
All rise. The special video for the channel of Trevor Jones has now come into order. Hello everyone, welcome to today's kind of special video. So today, I would like to present to you guys 10 of my proposals on amendments to add to the Constitution. Now, something I do need to mention about these proposals. I did post them already to the internet, so if you follow me on my Facebook or on my TikTok, you already know at least all of them, hopefully. So in a more condensed version of each one, I just decided to cut them all up and put them all into this video, which is what I'm going to do. And as you can also tell, this video is being set as a premiere. Yeah, so this is being live for the whole world to see, even though it's not really technically, because this is being pre-recorded. But anyways, you get the point. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and see all 10 of them. I have one about term limits for Congress. It has 4 sections, and I'll throw the text on screen, obviously, of course. So, going on to section 1 here. No representative in the House of Representatives shall have been elected by the people of the several states no more than 6 times. If elected in a special election in the respective state or states, the representative-elect shall only serve no more than 5 terms. Meaning that since the House of Representatives can only serve 2 years for 1 term, can only serve 12 years, so only 6 terms. And if you're elected through a special election, no more than 5 full terms. For section 2, we have no senator in the Senate shall have been elected by the people of the several states no more than twice. When vacancies occur in the Senate and the executive authority of such state makes a temporary appointment to fill such vacancy, the senator appointment shall only serve for the remainder of such term. So, same thing over here. 1 term in the Senate is 6 years. So, just like the House can only serve no more than 12 years, same thing here in the Senate. They can only serve 12 years and only 2 terms. If they have to be appointed, then they can only serve for the rest of the current term, however long it is, until that seat is technically up for grabs again. Section 3 is kind of the big one here. At the time of the ratification of this amendment to the Constitution of the United States, any and all senators and representatives that have served more than 12 years in their respective houses, as stated in the sections above, shall finish their term and shall not be permitted to serve in the house of their current term. Basically, if hypothetically this were to pass and be added to the Constitution, anyone that currently has served in their respective house for more than 12 years cannot be in that house ever again. If they want to keep having a congressional career, they have to go to the other house. So if you were in the Senate and you served more than 12 years there, can't be in the Senate anymore, you gotta go to the House, and vice versa. Alright, and section 4 is kind of how it would actually fully go into effect, which says, this article of amendment to the Constitution of the United States shall go into effect on the 3rd day of January next following the ratification of this amendment. So yeah, January 3rd is the big day for Congress every year, because that's when they gavel in to start the next Congress or their next session. So regardless of whenever it officially goes into effect, it will go into effect on whatever the next January 3rd is. The presidential line of succession prevention. There are 2 sections. Obviously, we'll have the text on screen, just like how we did yesterday. And So section 1 pretty much is the obvious main one, which states, no person that has ever held the office of President of the United States shall be a candidate or be elected or be appointed for Vice President, Speaker of the House of Representatives, President pro tempore of the Senate, or any of the heads of the departments after they shall have served for no more than 2 terms as president. So yeah, basically this means that anyone that has served as president for at least 8 years or 2 terms cannot become vice president, the Speaker of the House, the President pro tempore of the Senate, or any of the other 15 main cabinet heads that, requires the line of succession. That way, this prevents any constitutional loopholes. Because, technically, you don't have to end your political career after you become president. That has happened 4 times. Although it's rare, but, it is what it is. And section 2 is, the main whatever, which states, this article of amendment shall not be ratified unless it shall be an amendment to the Constitution of the United States. So, yeah, basically saying this can't be legit unless it's added to the Constitution. The age cap limit. What does that mean? Well, there are 2 sections in this one. The first one is the main one, and it's pretty long. No person serving as a representative or senator in Congress, a member of the Cabinet of the United States, President or Vice President of the United States, or a justice on the Supreme Court shall be allowed to serve after obtaining to the age of 65. If the incumbent office holder is currently over the age of 65, they shall continue to serve until the end of their current term. If any justice of the Supreme Court has reached the age of 65, they must resign the day prior to their 65th birthday. So basically, anyone over the age of 65 has to resign, and no one can serve in any federal government level until the age of 65. The main reason for this one is because, well, a lot of state governments have age caps when it comes to their state Supreme Courts. Like here in Ohio, the age cap is, I believe, 70. I think it'd be good for the federal level and not just only at the state level. And then section 2 is just like how it was for yesterday, which clearly states, this article of amendment shall not be ratified unless it shall be an amendment to the Constitution of the United States. That's pretty self-explanatory. The lobbying prevention. And the first one kind of spells it out, pretty self-explanatory, as we will jump into right now, which states, any and all forms of lobbying in the government of the United States of America is hereby prohibited. So yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory. Basically saying that, well, lobbying no longer exists in the government of the United States. And we all know we hate lobbyists. From lobbyists on oil control, gun rights, maybe some healthcare, Medicare in there somewhere, and of course supporting Israel in any way, shape, or form, and everything else in between that are lobbyists, which, they sway Congress's vote one way or another on a specific bill. Alright, and the last 2 sections of 2 and 3 are kind of Section 2 is, this article of amendment shall not be ratified unless it shall be an amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Basically saying that this amendment will not be law of the land unless it becomes part of the Constitution. And Section 3 clearly states, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation, which means that, Congress has power to formally put forth how this would fully go into effect. Gerrymandering prevention. Has 3 sections, all simple and sweet to the point. Section 1 is, as stated, any and all forms of political gerrymandering for the government of the United States of America is hereby prohibited. Yep. Nope. No more. Section 2 and 3 are how they were for yesterday's, so I'm just going to kind of briefly go through them real quick. Section 2. This article of amendment shall not be ratified unless it shall be an amendment to the Constitution of the United States. And Section 3 is as follows. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So once again, those two are the exact same as they were yesterday. The criminal and felon prevention. Yeah, I think you know who this is mainly pointed towards. But there are 3 sections for this one, and Section 1 is obviously the big one. As it states, no one that is a convicted criminal or felon shall be allowed to serve in any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. If while in office and said office holder has been charged and convicted of any crime except charges of impeachment, they shall be immediately removed from office and disqualified to hold any office under the Constitution of the United States. So yeah, this basically says that anyone that has ever been charged with any sort of crime, whether it's a felony or not, except for cases of impeachment, then that person is not allowed to serve in any office under the Constitution, which includes the President of the United States. And just like how it has been the last couple of days, sections 2 and 3 of this article of amendment are the same as they have been. Section 2, this article of amendment shall not be ratified unless it shall be an amendment to the Constitution of the United States. And Section 3, as stated, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So they're pretty much all the same there. Proposal number 7, which I call, well, it's actually just really simple. It repeals an already existing amendment. You already see it on screen, but if you're listening to this, then I'll go over it in its 2 sections right now with 1. The 16th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. Yes, this actually repeals the 16th Amendment. Just going over the 16th Amendment here real quick. It was ratified on February 3rd of 1913, which states, which I will put on screen as well. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived, without apportionment among the several states, and without regard to any census or enumeration. Yeah, basically this amendment is a federal income tax. So I say we repeal it, and that way it's null and void. Because, I mean, you know, no taxation without representation. Section 2 for this proposed amendment is, this article shall be inoperative unless it should have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by conventions in the several states, as provided in the Constitution, within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. So, yeah, there's that one. This is a little complicated because there's a lot of math that goes along with it. So this proposal that I have written down is known as congressional representation, or you could call it uncapping the House. There are 4 sections to this, and sections 1 and 2 are the big long ones, and they have, you know, they're divided up into clauses, which you'll see as we're going over section 1 right now, which states, The numeration of all representatives to the House of Representatives from the several states shall not exceed 1 for every 250,000, but each state shall have at least 2 representatives. The federal district shall not exceed 1 for every 250,000, but shall have at least 3 delegates. Yeah, that's the magic number, 250,000. According to the Constitution, in Article 1, Section 2, each member of the House should not exceed 1 for every 30,000. But in today's world, 1 representative in the House represents, on average, 750,000 people, which more or less could be the entirety of the state of Wyoming, just to put it in perspective. So, by doing a little bit of math, I did some calculations on a little project. So there are normally 435 members of the House. So with the 1 for every 250,000 in mind, it will give us a grand total of 1,328 representatives in the House. To put in Ohio's case, we currently have 15 representatives, and by doing that, we will have 47. So how do I get all these new big numbers? Well, you just take the population of the state and divide it by 250,000. The closest whole number from, the product is how many representatives each state will get. And the same thing with DC as well. Section 2 is more or less the same thing. The numeration of all delegates to the House of Representatives of the 5 main inhabited territories of the United States shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000, but each territory shall have at least 1 delegate. The territory of the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico shall not exceed 1 for every 250,000, but shall have at least 10 delegates. Alright, so same thing with this one. All of the 5 main territories in alphabetical order except for 1, which the 4 that are being referenced to in order are American Samoa, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. They all currently have 1 delegate in the House, and according to this, they will have at least 1 delegate. So not much will change for them, but in the way how the representation will be calculated, they take their total population and divide it by 30,000, except for Puerto Rico. They will have at least 1 delegate. Some might have 2, some might have 3, but they'll all have at least 1 delegate. Now, when it comes to Puerto Rico, they are the most populated territory that is under our control. They currently have 1 delegate representing the entire territory. This proposal, doing 1 for every 250,000, they will have no more than 10 delegates representing them. Presumably in districts, but it's a little complicated on that. With this proposal, this will give them 13 delegates for the House. So with the calculation of all current representatives and delegates, which are 441, the new full total number of the House, including delegates, are 1,348. Section 3 deals with the census in a way, which states, when calculating the full enumeration for the states and territories to the Congress, it shall be determined by the most recent census taken every 10 years. So yeah, after every year that the census is taken, Section 3 will be invoked, that it will all be calculated, and they'll divide by whatever number possible to know how many representatives and delegates each state, federal district, and territory will send to Washington as representatives or delegates. Section 4 is kind of, whatever, which states, this article of amendment shall not be ratified unless it shall be an amendment to the Constitution of the United States, which, is pretty self-explanatory. Banning congressional insider trading, and we all hopefully are on the same page about this. So going over section 1 here real quick. All forms of insider stock trading between the members of the Congress is hereby prohibited. Yeah, real nice, simple, straight to the point. Meaning no one in Congress, whether you're in the House or in the Senate, you are not allowed to trade stocks amongst each other during your time in Congress. That's a no-brainer there, folks. Section 2 is kind of goes along with section 3 in a way. They're kind of they're just there just to be there. Section 2 states, this article shall not be ratified unless it shall be added to the Constitution of the United States. So, you know, again with that one, it will not be fully enacted unless it is added to the Constitution. And section 3 states, Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation, which, you know, it's whatever. I would like to call this the Abolish the Electoral College. Yeah, people have been wanting to get rid of this at least since 2000 because of the highly controversial election between then Governor of Texas George W. Bush and then Vice President Al Gore. Yeah, and it all went down to Florida and the Supreme Court, and people were not happy about that. And especially back in 2016 between the Cheeto Man and Hillary. So, there are 4 sections to this one. They're all pretty short, simple, and straight to the point. Section 1 clearly states, the Electoral College system for picking the President of the United States is hereby abolished. So yeah, that one just says that, hey, we're going to completely end it. But Section 2 has the alternative for, you know, replacing it, which states, the people of the United States of America shall directly elect the President of the United States by a simple majority vote. That's right. It's all based on the popular vote, not the Electoral College system. Section 3 and Section 4 are pretty much the same as they've been here recently with some of these other ones. 3 being, this article of amendment shall not be ratified unless it shall be added to the Constitution of the United States, which, you know, it's whatever. And Section 4, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. You know, it is what it is for that one. Alright. Thank you all for at least paying attention to that. Sorry, some of them are pretty long, and I really do apologize for number 8, for how complicated it is. I will probably have to do a in-depth version of that one, just to see how I come up with some of those. But, yeah, I really do apologize on that one. So, anyways, if there are any proposals that you would like to see added to the Constitution, let me know in the comment section below. Now, there are some other proposals that are, like, real and legit to add to the Constitution, although most of them are in limbo. I probably will do a video on those, but that'll have to be done at a later time. But, you know, it is what it is on that. What? Oh, thanks. Huh, alright. So, I'll even set that there. So that way I can have that for here in a little bit. But, pursuant to YouTube channel code, Clause 1, the channel now stands adjourned until 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We'll see you then.
This program was funded in part by a Ready to Learn, No Child Left Behind grant from the U.S. Department of Education through the Public Broadcasting Service, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.